Today, we bring you an inspiring story that will touch your heart and motivate you to face your own fears. Meet Red, a brave finch who, despite his deep fears, found the courage within himself to soar beyond what he ever imagined. Join us as we explore how, with the guidance of Fog, a wise owl, Red transformed his fear into an adventure full of discovery and freedom. Don't miss this emotional life lesson, reminding us that while fear is natural, it should never stop us from reaching our dreams.
In a charming corner of the forest where sunlight danced with the wind, there lived a young goldfinch named Red. Unlike other birds his age, Red had a deep fear of heights and of flying far from home. From his nest, situated on a low and safe branch, Red watched with envy and awe as his siblings and friends soared gracefully into the sky, touching the clouds and discovering new horizons. However, for Red, the mere thought of leaving his safe branch filled him with paralyzing fear. This fear was not unfounded, for Red had witnessed as a young bird, a neighbor bird, suffer an accident during a strong wind. From that day on, fear had nested in his heart, growing and strengthening over time. Despite the encouragement and advice from his family, Red couldn't shake the feeling of dread that wrapped around him whenever he thought about flying high. His mother, a wise and loving bird, tried many times to motivate him. She told him stories of distant lands and the incredible adventures awaiting him beyond his comfort zone. But to Red, those stories only served as a reminder of what he believed he would never experience. As days passed, while his companions explored and played, Red remained on his branch, looking at the sky with a mix of desire and fear. He began to feel different, isolated, and in some way, less than the other birds. This sense of isolation only deepened his fear, creating a cycle from which he felt there was no escape. As Red grew, his fear of flying became an invisible barrier that confined his world to just a few branches and the forest floor. He saw his friends discover new places, make new friends, and live exciting adventures, while he remained in his small world, held back by fear. One autumn afternoon, while Red was gazing at the cloudy sky from his branch, an elderly owl landed nearby. It was Fog, the wisest owl in the forest, known for her deep knowledge and endless patience. Fog had been watching Red for a long time and decided it was time to intervene. "Red," began Fog, in her soft but firm voice, "I've noticed you look at the sky with desire, but you never dare to explore it. May I ask, what is holding you back?" Red was startled to hear the owl speak to him directly. At first, he hesitated to share his fears, but something in Fog's understanding gaze encouraged him to open his heart. "It's fear, Lady Fog," Red confessed with a sigh. "I'm afraid to fly high, afraid of what lies beyond this forest, afraid of getting lost and not being able to return home." Fog listened attentively, nodding with understanding. "Fear is a natural part of life, Red," the owl responded. "But you must know that fear not only protects you, it can also limit you. It prevents you from experiencing the beauty and excitement of the unknown." Red listened, absorbing every word. For the first time, he began to consider that his fear, though legitimate, might be keeping him from living valuable and enriching experiences. "And what if I try to fly and fail?" Red asked, his voice trembling. "Failure is part of learning, Red," Fog said with a wise smile. "Each fall teaches you something new about how to fly better the next time. And besides, you're not alone. You have friends and family who will support you no matter what happens." The conversation with Fog sparked a small glimmer of hope in Red's heart. For the first time, he began to contemplate the possibility of facing his fear. of taking that first step into the unknown. Although he wasn't ready to fly just yet, the seed of courage had been planted in his heart. The conversation had left a deep mark on Red. As days passed, his desire to fly and explore the world grew, battling the fear that had dominated his life for so long. One spring morning, as the forest awoke with birdsong and the fresh scent of flowers, Red made a decision that would change his life forever. He decided that today he would try to fly beyond his safe branch. With his heart pounding in his chest, Red stood at the edge of his branch, closed his eyes, and took a deep breath. He remembered Fogg's words, "Fear not only protects you, but it can also limit you." With that thought in mind, he opened his wings, and with an act of bravery, he launched himself into the air. At first, his flight was clumsy and unsteady. The wind seemed stronger than he had imagined, and for a moment, panic gripped him. But then he remembered all the times he had dreamed of this moment, all the beauty he had longed to see from the sky. Gradually, he began to stabilize his flight, feeling a sense of freedom and joy he had never experienced. He flew beyond his tree, beyond the known edges of the forest, into an open field where colorful flowers formed a magical tapestry. From this new perspective, the world seemed vast and full of possibilities. Red couldn't believe what he was seeing and feeling. The fresh air brushed against his feathers, and for the first time, he felt truly free. Free from the weight of his fear, free from the doubts that had kept him tied to the ground. In the following days, Red explored more and more. With each flight, his confidence grew. He began to visit places he had never imagined seeing. He met other birds, listened to their stories, and shared his own. He realized that many had faced their own fears, and like him, had found the strength to overcome them. However, not every day was easy. There were moments when the wind was too strong, or he got lost and had trouble finding his way back. But these experiences, far from discouraging him, strengthened his resilience and his ability to face challenges. Over time, Red became an example for other young birds who were afraid of flying. He told them his story, how he had overcome his fears, and encouraged them to take their own first step. He became a symbol of courage and perseverance in his community. One evening, as the sun set, painting the sky with golden and pink hues, Red perched next to Mist. "Thank you, Mrs. Mist," he said with a smile. "Without your words, I might have never discovered how beautiful it is to fly, and how wonderful the world is beyond my safe branch." Mist nodded with a wise smile. "You did the work yourself, Red. You faced your fear, and you discovered that you are stronger than you thought. That is something to be proud of." From that day on, Red was no longer the bird who feared heights. He was an explorer, an adventurer, a friend who inspired others to face their fears and to discover the wonderful world that awaited them beyond their own barriers. Red's story, the little finch who overcame his fear of flying, is a powerful metaphor for the challenges we face in our own lives. Just like Red, we all encounter moments of fear of the unknown, whether it's a career change, moving to a new place, starting or ending a relationship, or taking any other big step in life. Fear is natural, but not definitive. The fear Red felt was a natural response to the unknown. In our lives, fear acts as a defense mechanism to protect us. However, we must recognize that fear should not become a barrier that prevents us from living new experiences and growing. Accepting that feeling fear is normal, but also knowing that we are capable of overcoming it is the first step toward change. Small steps toward big changes. Red didn't begin his journey by flying great distances. He started with small flights, gradually gaining confidence and skill. In our lives, change doesn't have to be drastic to be significant. Small steps and decisions can lead us to great transformations. Never underestimate the power of starting small.
If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't hesitate to do so and share it with someone who might need it. Here, at Luminous Stories, you'll find answers, even when you're in the middle of the storm.